Jen, here's my thoughts. And this is very counter because people got very mad when I tweeted this on Twitter. I tweeted, and it sounds bad what I'm about to say coming from a journalist. But to me, the most important thing here is not whether the story is true or not. I don't really care if it's true or not, to tell you the truth. Of course, we care if fake information is spread. We want to know if it's a fake story. But to me, even if it were true, is this going to change anything? Is it breaking news that if it were true that Joe Biden lied, that Joe Biden did meet with this Ukrainian whomever, this Ukrainian oil guy or fossil fuel guy or whatever Burisma is, and after meeting with him, then basically tried to get a Ukrainian prosecutor fired who was investigating Burisma? Is that going to change the election? Is, frankly, Joe Biden being corrupt make Donald Trump less corrupt? They're both corrupt. They're part of a...
Well, I don't think we should even judge materials or information or reporting based on if it would or would not impact the election.
Right.
Like, obviously, that's what they do. That's why they have the October surprises. But I don't even think we should use that as a measure. Like, if it's news, it's news.
Yeah. No. I guess what I'm saying is, to me, whether it's true or not, obviously the New York Post, the right wing, want this to be like an October surprise that hurts Biden. We get that. That's why the Resistance, MSNBC, the Twitterazzi is outraged by this and tweeting MAGA Haberman and, David Corn, which you'll get into his story.
My God.
All the usual suspects are very, very, very angry. They're automatically saying this is fake, whatever. But here's my thing. Whether it's fake or not, I don't know if it's fake. I thought Joe Biden campaign's response to it was pretty weak. They said, we should say, Joe Biden's campaign basically said, we looked through the former vice president's schedule, and we never saw a meeting on there scheduled with this Ukrainian member of Burisma. Okay, I know he's old. He's clearly got some cognitive things going. But saying we don't see anything on his schedule, there was nothing scheduled for this meeting, is not the same thing as Joe Biden saying, I never met with this person. This is a lie. They also, even though people on Twitter are challenging it, Biden's campaign did not challenge the authenticity of the emails that the New York Post is reporting. The New York Post is a conservative, sensational rag, but it's not Breitbart. There is some basic journalistic process. What I mean by that, the New York Post would vet before publishing the authenticity of emails. Now, they could get it wrong, but the New York Post is not like OANN, that crazy outlet.
Yeah.
So Biden's campaign's response basically being, no, we don't see anything in the schedule. Do you think?
Well, do you want me to read it?
Sure.
So they start off, they separate it into two different parts. So first they try to, again, discredit the entire story. And this comes from Joe Biden's spokesman, Andrew Bates. Investigations by the press during impeachment and even by two Republican-led Senate committees whose work was decried as not legitimate and political by a GOP colleague have all reached the same conclusion, that Joe Biden carried out official U.S. policy toward Ukraine and engaged in no wrongdoing. Trump administration officials have attested to these facts under oath. So they get that part out of the way to kind of, repaint that picture for people. The New York Post never asked the Biden campaign about the critical elements of this story, which that's not good reporting. They absolutely should have reached out at the New York Post. Biden's campaign continues. They certainly never raised that Rudy Giuliani, whose discredited conspiracy theories and alliance with figures connected to Russian intelligence have been widely reported, claimed to have such materials. Moreover, and this is the important line, we have reviewed Joe Biden's official schedules from the time and no meeting, as alleged by the New York Post, ever took place. Because clearly they put corrupt meeting with Ukrainian Burisma officials in Joe Biden's date book.
Here's my thing, Jen. And again, I'm a journalist, you're a journalist, so we do care about whether a story is true or not. But frankly, to me, the most disconcerting part of this is not the fact that Joe Biden might have met with this Burisma person And then years later, basically got a Ukrainian prosecutor fired who was investigating Burisma. I texted you earlier saying, honestly, my gut, it probably is true. It never made sense to me. Why would Joe Biden give a shit, excuse my French, swear jar, why would Joe Biden give a shit about a corrupt prosecutor in Ukraine to the point of trying to make him be fired? And if he's not fired, we will withhold funding to Ukraine. Could somebody explain that to me?
Right.
Why would...
So I actually think that's interesting because I think you and I take different... I agree. I think there was corruption. I think, influence was definitely used. I think Hunter and Joe did wrong for sure. I think there is a there. But I don't think that these emails are I don't think they're real. Like the New York Post is smart enough to have published the emails with metadata if they had them. But I say that maybe they are real, maybe they're not. But I say that because even though we have, maybe a difference of opinion about whether it's potentially real or not, it doesn't matter because the real story here is the suppression, is the censorship, I think.
Yes, so that's what I want to get to. If it's not true, yes, it should be knocked down. But to me, the biggest thing, and this goes to what Status Coup has been experiencing on day one, on this platform and others, is the selective suppression by Silicon Valley outlets. So let's look at this story versus others and see why, on this case, Twitter is literally blocking you from tweeting it and Facebook is literally suppressing it. Jen, could you...
Well, so here's Twitter's official statement on why they did this, because the New York Post did a write-up that they just published. So the Post's primary Twitter account was locked as of 2:20 p.m. Wednesday because its articles about the messages obtained from Biden's laptop broke the social network's rules against distribution of hacked material, according to an email the Post received from Twitter. Twitter also blocked users from sharing the link to the Post article indicating that Hunter Biden introduced Joe Biden to the Ukrainian businessman, calling the link potentially harmful. In line with our hacked materials policy, as well as our approach to blocking URLs, we are taking action to block any links or images of the material in question on Twitter, a Twitter spokesperson told the Post in a statement. The company said it took the step because of the lack of authoritative reporting on where the materials included in the Post story originated. This is chilling. This is really bad.
So could I ask Twitter a question? Why didn't they do that for the New York Times story on Donald Trump's taxes? We don't know how they got Donald Trump's taxes. The New York Times story said they obtained it legally. I'm not saying the New York Times hacked into the IRS or hacked into the Trump organization, but why is it that this is suspected to have been hacked? But for the Trump taxes, which everybody loved and everybody was waiting for that story, that's a story we love. There was no suspected hacking. There was no even questioning how do they get this. By that standard, what they're talking about potential hacking, 10 years ago, would Twitter be blocking what Julian Assange published through Chelsea Manning? That was illegally taken from the government. That was illegally taken when Chelsea Manning was working inside the government. As part of Twitter's hack policy, war crimes proof of war crimes would not be shown. So this is what I'm getting at with the selective suppression. To me, there's two separate things. Is the story true or not? At this point, I don't think we know. I don't think we know. And even if it is true, I don't personally care. I don't think it's a big October surprise. Trump is one of the most corrupt we've ever seen in office, and Biden is part of a corrupt political system, and this wouldn't surprise me. It's not breaking news.
I think,
but to me...
Well, off air, we were saying like this won't move the needle, but maybe it will now only because of Twitter and Facebook censorship. Now it's a huge deal on the right, even with people on the right who are not Trump supporters. This is going to be all over Fox all day. This is going to be on Glenn Beck's show. This is going to be yelled to the heavens about, the fake news media. I think this might move the needle for Trump.
Right. Well, what I'm getting at, what is the difference between this story, right, which the New York Post published? I'm not saying prove a double negative, but we don't have any proof that the emails aren't authentic. We don't have, there's nothing, like Facebook has been getting better in recent years at identifying truly fake news, like deep fake videos, images that are not authentic. But remember, Hillary Clinton, when the Podesta emails were coming out in 2016, her campaign's response was to sow doubt about the authenticity of the emails, saying that they might be photoshopped, this and that. They had no proof for that. They had no proof that WikiLeaks was putting out photoshopped or fabricated emails. Just like right now, the people screaming on the internet have zero proof that these are not authentic emails. So my point is, what is the difference between this story, for example, that Twitter is not allowing you to tweet, that Facebook is suppressing, and a story that came out, 2 months ago from NBC News, that Russia had put bounties on U.S. soldiers' heads in Afghanistan? What is the difference? For that story that NBC News put out, there was no evidence for it. The only evidence was the same level of evidence that there's been for almost every Russiagate story. An unnamed U.S. official says, or the intelligence, U.S. intelligence says, XYZ. I don't know, off the top of my head, at least 15 to 20 of those Russiagate stories have later come out to be total bullshit. That Russian bounty stories, it came out weeks later. The chief commander in Afghanistan said, yeah, we don't have actual conclusive evidence of this. But that story and many other stories like it in the Russiagate category, Twitter didn't block you from tweeting it, even though there was no evidence. Facebook wasn't suppressing it. Actually, the opposite. It was trending on Twitter. It was trending on, I don't know about trending, but widely distributed on Facebook. Hell, Joe Biden's campaign started using the talking points about Russian bounties. He said it, I believe, in the first debate. That disaster. That's just one example. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.